Who is that? Nkechi hurriedly wore her clothes and rushed to open the door for whoever was knocking. When she opened the door, she saw a woman dressed in a very beautiful buba attire. "Good afternoon, Nkechi," the woman greeted. "Good afternoon, ma," Nkechi replied. "Is Sister Lizzie your mom in?" "No, ma," Nkechi replied. "Tell her when she returns that Sister Peace came around." "Okay, ma, I will inform her." That evening, when Nkechi's mother came back from the market, "Mommy, a fine lady came here today whose name is Sister Peace. She came to look for you and she wore a very beautiful buba," Nkechi said. Her mother gave her a side look and asked, "Did she come alone?" "Yes, ma," Nkechi answered, as she unpacked the foodstuff her mother had brought back from the market. What she did not know is that Sister Peace came to check her out for her brother Cosmos, who is already in his early 40s. He doesn't look like he would be getting married anytime soon and has refused to bring any lady home to introduce to the family. So his elder sister Peace took it upon herself to matchmake her brother Cosmos and Nkechi. Nkechi being the eldest of 11 siblings, 6 girls and 5 boys, of whom 5 out of the girls are all married, and 2 of her brothers are set to wed soon. 5 days earlier at the market, while Sister Lizzie, Nkechi's mother, was arranging her shop, then came her friend from the church, Sister Peace. "How are you doing and how is the market treating you today?" Sister Peace asked. My very good friend, we thank God for today," replied Sister Lizzie. "How are the ladies and their husbands doing? I hope you hear from every one of them," Sister Peace asked. "My very good friend, they are all fine." "That's lovely. But how are you coping with business and being alone all by yourself?" asked Sister Peace thoughtfully. "Well, I still have my eldest daughter, Nkechi, who is helping me out at home. She is yet to get a man," Sister Lizzie replied with a sad look on her face. Sister Peace, with a beaming smile on her face, replied, "She must be a good helping hand." This is an opportunity for her to inform her friend about her brother, Cosmos, who is yet to get married too. "Sister Lizzie, you know my brother Cosmos?" asked Sister Peace. "Of course I know him," replied Sister Lizzie. "And you know he has refused to bring us a bride," added Sister Peace. Sister Lizzie laughed heartily. "What are you trying to say?" muttered Sister Lizzie. "You already know," said Sister Peace. They both laughed. "I would like to see her face, because I know what my brother likes," whispered Sister Peace. "Well, if you are serious then, I live at number 26 Wonkocha Street, not too far from here," Sister Lizzie informed. "In 5 days, I will visit your place," Sister Peace said. Cosmos was at his shop hustling for customers when he sighted his sister walking towards his direction. His countenance changed because he doesn't know what to expect this time around from her, and he is not in any mood to engage in a back and forth squabble with her. As they exchanged pleasantries, he offered her a seat and some refreshment, while Sister Peace, with a straight face on her face, revealed the reason for her coming. "Cosmos, you know you are not getting any younger. Take a good look at your friends, men of your age grade. Whom amongst them is still single? Even your very good friend welcomed a baby boy in his home last week, but here you are unable to move to the next phase of your life." Cosmos, with a frown on his face, listened as his sister continued. "This is why I have decided to take it upon myself to make sure you settle down, but with the right person." Sister Peace went ahead to inform him of Nkechi, Sister Lizzie's daughter, whom she believes is the right person for him. Cosmos had no choice but to agree to all his sister said and suggested, as long as she has the attributes he desired. Then they both agreed on a set date to go visit Sister Lizzie and her daughter. On the said date, Sister Peace and her brother Cosmos went to Sister Lizzie's house as agreed. When Cosmos sighted Nkechi, he smiled and nudged his sister as he whispered into her ears, "Is she the one?" "Yes, she is." Cosmos admired Nkechi as she served them. Nkechi's mother called her into their room and asked her if she liked Mr. Cosmos. Nkechi's brows furrowed. "Look, madam, I am in my own husband's house. I have no intentions of sharing it with you. You want to grow old in my house so that my co-wives will use you to mock me during meetings. Never!" Nkechi's mom said angrily as she stormed out of the room. When the visitors left, Nkechi calmly explained to her mother that love and compatibility mattered too in marriage. As she wanted to further speak, her mother burst into tears, telling her how people kept asking her when her eldest daughter would be getting married. She urged Nkechi to marry, that love would come later. Seeing her mother in such pain, she agreed to marry Cosmos. The traditional rites for Cosmos to marry Nkechi was done and her dowry paid in full. Sister Lizzie was the happiest. She wore her most expensive wrapper. She was so happy that you would think she is the bride. The next Sunday was their church wedding. Nkechi thought to share with the church women leader. "Ma, I don't feel settled in my spirit to marry this man that I barely know." The women leader cut in. "Nkechi, do you want to grow old in your father's house? During our own time, we didn't even know our husbands. Please go ahead and marry this man. He looks like a good man." "Ma, goodness is not written on the face," Nkechi replied. "Leave that in, my daughter. We want the best for you," the woman leader said. Nkechi left feeling unhappy but determined to make her mother happy by marrying Cosmos. The wedding was a beautiful one, but with an unhappy bride. 1 year later, Nkechi gave birth to a baby boy. Everyone was happy for the new addition to the Cosmos, but that was just the beginning of Nkechi's problems. Her husband wouldn't provide for the family. Things as little as money for pap, diapers would cause problem as Cosmos wouldn't carry out his responsibilities in the family. One of the days, Nkechi was opportune to go to market and buy foodstuff courtesy of her sister-in-law, Peace. Nkechi told her mother everything she was going through. Her mother sharply told her, "All men are like that. You should be happy he is not even cheating on you. Please preserve your marriage by enduring." Nkechi felt sad and betrayed. She hurriedly wiped her tears so her mother wouldn't notice. If this is her mother's reaction, how could she tell her mother that he raped her at will, he beat her up and would leave home without any provision for food for her and her baby? Nkechi's heart ached at the thought of this. Who do I run to? She questioned herself. She had shared everything with her sister-in-law Peace. Peace was so angry with her brother and threatened to tell their aged mother, but Nkechi intervened. That night, Nkechi received the beating of her life. She had a swollen face and pink eye. Her side hurt as Cosmos focused on that area as he landed heavy punches on Nkechi. She didn't want such to repeat, hence she endured the pain and saved her marriage, as her mother said. "Kai!" Nkechi exclaimed, thinking out aloud. "What is it?" her mother asked. "Oh, nothing, just a little headache," Nkechi lied in a bid to cover up. Months passed and Nkechi continued to cover up her pain, dying silently within her. Her once chubby figure was gone and her smiley face wrinkled. She would back her son early in the morning and head out to the bush to buy firewood. She would resell at her kiosk while Cosmos would return home every day empty and claim there was no sales. Nkechi dared not ask for money for food or anything if she wanted peace to reign. One evening, she wanted to tell Cosmos something, but she was scared of what his reaction would be. She served him dinner, waited patiently for him to finish his food and have his bath before she could speak. My husband, she called. What is it, Nkechi? Cosmos asked. I want to tell you something that is important. Woman, speak up, Cosmos blurted. I have been feeling unwell and I went to the hospital for malaria treatment. But they did a test and said I am pregnant. Nkechi said, you better go and abort that thing. Our son is just 9 months old, Cosmos shouted. Abort? I can't try such. What if I die in the process? Nkechi replied with a little confidence. She carried the pregnancy to term with no help of any kind from Cosmos. He wouldn't help with their son nor assist her with house chores. He left Nkechi even to fetch water from 2 streets away. Strangers would often help her carry her keg of water home as they wondered why a pregnant woman would be seen with heavy keg of water on her head. Nkechi would always cry herself to sleep and comforted herself, believing that one day all this would be over. Nkechi woke up one midnight to ease herself and noticed life had poured and show was evident. She hurried into the room to wake Cosmos before labor set in. Cosmos told her to go, that he was coming. She left the house that night with just torchlights and her maternity bag full of baby things and hospital requirements she had single-handedly bought. Within 2 hours of getting to the hospital, she delivered a baby girl. Cosmos never showed up at the hospital. Neither did he express any sign of happiness when congratulated. It is just a child, he would say. Nkechi reported his nonchalant attitude to the pastorate and admin officers in church, but almost every one of them said the same thing. Manage him like that. Keep your marriage. It's not easy anywhere either. She became depressed, a shadow of herself, and felt helpless. Life was better for me as a spinster, she would always remind herself. When their daughter could not walk or crawl at 1 year, she was worried and sought medical help. Cosmos would always come home and curse the innocent child. He would say hurtful things like, Nkechi, come and carry this your vegetable of a child. Your immobile child is crying. He wouldn't help clean after the child or pacify her when she cried for comfort. Nkechi sought medical help with financial assistance from her sister-in-law, Peace. Her daughter was diagnosed with sickle cell. Nkechi's world crumbled. The doctor advised, it is not the end of the world, madam. If you follow medical advice and give her medications religiously, she would live a normal life. This brought a glimpse of hope to Nkechi. She was determined to do right by her child. In a couple of months, she could see difference in her child's health. She was so happy for the first time in a long time. Sister Peace didn't want the happiness she saw on Nkechi's face to disappear. Hence, she advised her. Sister Peace, full of emotions, with a shaky voice, said to Nkechi, Kim, I sincerely love and admire you. Your strength in of chaos is one I want to experience. I never knew my brother had such a demon in him. If not, I wouldn't have come for your hand in marriage. I advise that you leave him and room with these kids. When you are settled in a new place, I would come to visit. Nkechi agreed and said she had been making plans about this. They both hugged tightly and cried bitterly in each other's arms. One day, Cosmos traveled to his village, and on his return, he realized the house looked different. He waved the thought off and said, maybe Nkechi cleaned the house. It was night and neither Nkechi nor the children were back. He got furious and scurried to Nkechi's kiosk just to realize it was locked. He called her number, but it was busy. His anger increased the more as he kept calling different people asking if his wife and kids were in their house, but everyone said they didn't know their whereabouts. Nkechi had waited for her husband to travel so she could run to a nearby city to start life afresh and get her daughter the medical help she needed. By the time she got to the park, it was already late. The last bus had just left for Amawam. The man she saw there said, but the first bus leaves as early as 6 in the morning. I would be back by 5:30 in the morning, she said, and left with her 2 kids. She was determined to travel the next day. She went to her kiosk with her kids to sleep for the night. She knew Cosmos would go to her mother's house first to look for her and the kids. On getting closer to the kiosk, she saw Cosmos and tried to hide, but he saw her first. She brought down the baby she was carrying and tried to speak, but Cosmos had landed a dirty slap on her face. As she turned to run, a fast-moving vehicle crushed her down. Boom! Nkechi's motionless body was seen on the dusty tarred road. People hurried to her rescue while others held Cosmos. She was immediately rushed to the hospital, but the doctor declared her brought in dead. Cosmos cried and apologized to Nkechi's already cold body, but it was too late. Nkechi was gone. 6 months later, Cosmos went to his sister's house and informed her of his plans of marrying within the next 2 months. It is 6 months we just buried Nkechi. You barely care for your kids who are in my custody. What is wrong with you? She yelled and continued. Count me out. I will not be part of this. Cosmos had a lavish wedding. He often publicly displayed his affection to his new wife, spent heavily on her, buys her expensive jewelries, donor hairs and designer shoes. She asked for something Cosmos couldn't afford, and he told her it was way beyond his reach. That night, there was no dinner and Cosmos dared to ask her why. She gave Cosmos the beating of her life. He was rushed to the hospital. For the first time, he valued Nkechi and wished he was good to her. When Cosmos was discharged, he went back to his house and realized his new wife emptied his house. She carted away with every valuable he had. He sat outside as he watched his life go back to square one. Moral of the story: you don't have to stay in an abusive marriage. People will always talk, either about you or about someone else. Remember, you only live once. Do not try to please anybody. Life does not come in doubles or spares. Be sure you are compatible before marriage. And lastly, sickle cell warriors are human beings too and can live normal lives. Be nice to people. I would be so happy to know what you learned from this story. Please kindly engage with me in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening. Please kindly like, share, comment and subscribe. God bless you.